At First Choice Bank, we know you can't always make it before the bank closes. With our integrated teller, you can talk to a live person as late as 7 p.m. on weekdays and noon on Saturdays. It's not just an ATM, it's an ITM. First Choice Bank, your choice for banking.
Enjoy your home for the holidays with store-wide savings at Room to Room. 50% off, 48-month special financing, and as our gift to you, a free accessory buyer's card. There's something here for everyone, including gift cards. Merry Christmas from Room to Room Tupelo.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 6.
Welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 6. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor, and we are in for a calm night, but a cold night. Once again, here across the North Mississippi area, we welcome you for joining us here on Mississippi Live Weather at 6. Again, I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor, joined alongside our chief meteorologist Matt Laupon here in just a moment. Frigid temperatures returning tonight, already feeling that in the air there in Shannon. We're also going to be enjoying much warmer pattern in the extended forecast. Of course, we'll break that down here in just a moment. We're also talking about a stormy start to our Thursday. Some of that going to be by the afternoon, potentially some stronger storms. Again, breaking that down in full detail here in just a moment. But before we get into that, we need to talk about the here and now, and no better person to do it than our chief meteorologist, Matt Laupon. He is in the cold conditions right now. Matt, I know it's frigid, but one thing I want to say, with cold temperatures, it's always the wind for me that sets it to that miserable side. Whenever it's just cold and kind of calm, I feel like it's bearable.
And it's not terribly windy. That's kind of been one of the things. I've noticed that all day long. Hopefully other folks did as well. You know, the thermometer might read 20-something as it did most of the day, but there wasn't a ton of wind out there. That certainly, I think, made a huge difference on the bearability factor of being able to deal with things. No, we're not at some crime scene here. We are at the parade in Shannon, or at least where the parade is lining up. This is the last of our Christmas parades that we're going to be covering this year as far as our tour across North Mississippi. Also have one in Ashland this evening at 7 p.m. as well. I appreciate the good folks at MLM for kind of sponsoring our tour here, Christmas parades across North Mississippi. For Shannon Fire and Rescue, the folks at Moorville, a lot of other area fire crews out here represented in the parade tonight. Expected to last around 30 minutes or so. And again, starting at around the 7 p.m. time period. I'm in what they call the lower parking lot here at Shannon High School. You can see cars and trucks coming in. I'm trying to get out of the way of that one there. Also, just coming through to kind of line up and get the floats and other entries lined up and ready to go for the parade. Again, still about 55 minutes or so before the beginning of that one there. So as we go through the evening, we do expect it to be fairly chilly, and certainly excited to kind of feature how the parade ends up going later on this evening. Checking out those temperatures at this time, 33 what it is, and what it feels like is about 30. So again, to that exposed skin, a little bit chilly out there for tonight once again. We do expect, again, most locations are cold, but not as cold as we started the day. Well, those temperatures coming in the neighborhood of getting around 33 and below 30 degrees in Amory, one of our colder locations down there below freezing. And yeah, you can probably see my breath here as well. So even if you're not directly below freezing, certainly it is already chilly this evening. So as we go throughout the first 12, we'll be 27 by 10 p.m. So everybody heading below freezing over the course of the next couple of hours here. 25 by 1 o'clock in the morning, 24 by 4 a.m., and about 25 to begin early tomorrow morning as that sun starts to come up around 7 a.m. or so. Mississippi Live Weather Radar, we are clear, we are dry, not just here, but across the entire region. That H back to the east, that is our story. High pressure is the big one here. And what that signifies for us, again, the clear skies, and we get that southerly wind around the south side of that high pressure center, working to ensure that we stay relatively dry. Now, as we go forward here, and we'll kind of pan this Gabe back over, you can see that we have the southerly winds associated with that. Let's go slightly wider on this as well. Now, that does show some of the cloud cover back down there into the Gulf of Mexico. That eventually starts trying to work its way a little bit more northward over the course of the next 24 hours or so, but no meaningful precipitation, of course, coming from that. Gabe, you're going to have to advance this on there for me if you could, please. So that cloud cover mainly high and thin. So you can kind of tell that if you look at the edges of it, how it kind of looks almost tattered on the east side of that. That's one of the ways you can kind of look at our model here and determine whether or not it's high cloud cover. That tattered sort of look, a sign that's mainly high and thin stuff out there through the evening. So looking over the next 24 hours, from 23, probably that coldest temperature tomorrow morning, to around 49 by noontime, or 52 for tomorrow afternoon. And it will be mostly sunny to mostly clear skies, or at least for a good chunk of the day, other than that high, thin cirrus cloud there. Temperatures do warm up quite a bit more than they did for today. Will be low 40s, as you can see, by 6 p.m. tomorrow. No Christmas parades, all done with those as far as this season is concerned. Of course, got a big one here in Shannon tonight, wrapping up the season. Looking forward to that. Of course, beginning of that at 7 p.m. Love to come and see you down here. Lineup occurring at Shannon High School and heading down toward the Baptist and Methodist churches as it turns back toward the east there. So the parade route this evening expected to last about 30, 35 minutes or so. So if you haven't got your fill of Christmas parades, which I think it's hard to say that I have, we're looking forward to that. Coming up at 60 seconds, our meteorologist Gabe Maynor is tracking some very non-Christmassy sort of weather. And again, here in the South, we always say this, you're a lot more likely to see tornadoes on Christmas than you are to see snowfall. We're looking at toward that forecast as we get close to Christmas, and we're looking toward a potential for maybe some storms. That's coming up here in 60 seconds as Mississippi Live Weather continues here. Again, appreciate the good folks from MLM for sponsoring our parade coverage for 2025. More right after this.
Give the gift of a delicious burger from Bulldog Burger, a soup and sandwich from Sweet Pepper's Deli, appetizers and cocktails from The Grill, or even a wood-fired steak from Harvey's. Choice is the perfect gift. An all-in-one gift card from Eat With Us.
As a bankruptcy firm, Mitchell, Cunningham & Bowling realizes many people are worried about their finances. We're here to guide you through the next steps to restart your life with easy video appointments. New clients don't have to leave home to get information about becoming debt-free. Also, convenient in-office appointments are available at the low cost of $340 upfront for a Chapter 13. You can be on your way to being debt-free. Contact Mitchell, Cunningham & Bowling today or visit our website at mcdebtfree.com. We are here to help you.
This portion of Mississippi Live Weather is presented by Little's Jewelers.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
You know, I always appreciate a good weather report out in the field. This a submission by Sandra in Blue Springs. We talk about our weather watchers. Well, we especially love our weather reporters who tell us what it feels like on the ground, what those temperatures are, and what exactly you saw whenever, storms or clear skies move through the area. Well, this report probably stands out to you. 14 degrees this morning in the Blue Springs area, and look at that feels like value. 8 degrees, and trust me, we felt every bit of it here in North Mississippi. Look at those low temperatures reported this morning. Yeah, we're talking 13 degrees New Albany, 12 degrees Holly Springs, 15 in Tupelo. Oh man, yeah, I felt it. I took the dogs out about 7 a.m. we were walking my wife out to work, and they wrapped it up pretty quickly because I was not standing out there forever. 16 degrees in Grenada, 18 in Cleveland, and 19 in Greenville. Yeah, this is a picture that you almost need to capture a mental screenshot of, because how rare is it that our entire viewing area is below 20 degrees this early into the season? Yeah, we're not even into winter yet, to give you perspective, and this cold air has already hit us. Luckily, since then, temperatures have gradually warmed up. Now, granted, they are still cold, don't get me wrong, but they have warmed up from where they were this morning. 33 in Tupelo, 34 Water Valley, and 31 around Tunica. As we jump down south, 33 Greenwood, 35 Kosciuszko, and 37 around Macon. Now, that difference, that temperature change from this time 24 hours ago has trended in a much better direction. So, will it be cold tonight? Yes, but is it going to be as cold as last night? Fortunately, no. As you can see, that 10-degree difference makes all the difference whenever it comes to how it feels heading out the door tonight and tomorrow morning. And that warming trend doesn't end here. We continue that into the next several days as well. As you can see, that warmer air moving across the central portion of the United States, and those reds indicative of warmer air moving into North Mississippi. So those 10-degree temperature differences, yeah, they feel nice. The 20, the 30, that's going to feel even better as we get into that extended forecast, something we are eagerly anticipating. And you can already see some of that temperature differential with 44 in Fayetteville, 36 Little Rock, and at freezing here in the North Mississippi area. So we're ready for it. Just whenever that warm air wants to get here, we'll take it as soon as possible. Our parade planner tonight, 6 p.m., 34 degrees. But as we know, Ashland and Shannon, their parade's kicking off around 7 o'clock, 30 degrees. So it is still going to be a cold forecast. But at that, it is going to be a clear forecast. And we'll definitely take the positives whenever it comes with it, but every single forecast comes at a cost. If you want warmer weather, got to have some rainfall. If you want some colder weather, or if you want drier weather, should I say, then it's going to come at a cold cost. That's kind of hinting at that extended pattern as moisture does return to the forecast. The potential for those warmer temperatures, again, being paired with those showers and storms, we'll look at that come Thursday in just a moment. But tonight, clear, dry, and cold. And we'll continue with those same conditions by 10 o'clock tonight. So as those parades wrap up, or any of those Monday evening plans wrap up, it is just going to be a cold forecast. That's our only concern overnight. Getting overnight and into the start of our Tuesday, you can see how maybe some of those cirrus clouds moving in there towards Greenville, Dermont, Arkansas, and Hollandale. They're on the far southwest section of North Mississippi. But other than that, we're still clear for the start of our Tuesday. Going to be a beautiful sunrise at that. Have any pictures? Submit them through the Mississippi Live weather app. Meteorologist Maggie McCauley would love to show those off during those morning shows at 6:37 and 7:30, and may even reappear heading into those evening broadcasts as well. I love seeing them myself, even though, we come into work in the evening, but we share those pictures just a bit. Low temperatures on your Tuesday. I told you it'd be a cold one, but luckily not as cold as today. Going to be in the 20s. Woohoo! Yeah, I know it's still cold. 22 in Bruce, 27 Greenwood, 25 Oxford, and 24 Red Bay, Alabama. We jump down south there into Pickens County, 25, 24 in Louisville, and 24 around Eupora and Kosciuszko. Wind chill going to be more of a factor further out west, and that's because those winds are going to be a little bit more breezy, 5 to 10 miles an hour, whereas the rest of us pretty much calm as we head into those overnight hours, so it doesn't really drop those feels like values too much. And we have no complaints there. We do not want it to be colder than what it is, and it's already cold enough here in the North Mississippi area. Now, as we continue with that forecast, you can see Tuesday morning still with those breezy conditions there along the river, but the rest of us pretty calm. This as cloud cover builds into the area, but these are still going to be very thin, just going to cover the way high parts of our atmosphere. Not exactly anything that's going to blanket our sky heading into those afternoon forecasts. Now, as you can see, 10:30, still those mostly clear conditions. A lot of those cirrus clouds still remaining out there. Greenwood, Kosciuszko, and Greenville, generally the southwest section of our area. The rest of us still clear. Noontime looking good to go, and even into the afternoon, we'll see those dry and clear conditions stick around for those afternoon plans. Now, as we get into our mid-afternoon, you can see that cloud cover building in just a bit more. Still expect this to be more elevated, more of those high-end clouds, those cirrus clouds, so not really going to be a cirrus problem for us. But by 6 p.m., that cloud cover becomes slightly more dense and maybe the potential of a few partly cloudy skies. Not an impossibility. Now, high temperatures on your Tuesday, 52 degrees in Tupelo, 50 Clarksdale and Cleveland, 55 Kosciuszko, and 54 around the Golden Triangle. As we keep that forecast moving throughout your Tuesday evening, you can see those cirrus clouds a little bit better represented by our strike model. So that's really what we're going to see in regards to the extent of coverage in the sky. But that does transition to a little bit more moisture in the forecast, allowing for some more dense cloud cover, but also some isolated showers on an impossibility. Seeing those gradually work their way into the area around Tunica County by 3 a.m., building further east along the Tennessee state line, and even for folks down south by 6, 7, 8 o'clock on your Wednesday morning. But even then, look at how light these are. These are going to be very non-impactful showers, but we'll take anything we can get as drought conditions still persist here in North Mississippi. So as these gradually work their way through, we will soak up every bit of it that it has, but not expecting anything too significant whenever those rainfall totals move in place. I mean, we're probably talking a 1/10 of an inch max as these work their way through, and that's still going to be primarily south of Highway 82. You can see how that's a more saturated pattern than what we're getting here in the northern half of the Magnolia State. But as we get into our Wednesday night, a lot of those showers work their way out, but our focus transitions further out towards the west. You see this front that's over my head. That's going to begin moving southeast into the southeast portion of Kansas and around the Oklahoma City area. That is going to play a part in our forecast by our Thursday. Potential of a few showers and thunderstorms, not an impossibility. Potential for a few strong thunderstorms. Really, it's going to be further south, but we'll break down that forecast coming up here in just a moment on what Thursday's potential is. High temperatures on your Wednesday afternoon, going to be 56 Tupelo, 54 Corinth and Booneville, 59 Vernon, 60 Eupora, 60 Greenwood, and 62 Kosciuszko. That is right. 60s. We'll be back into the forecast. Very excited about that pattern returning because it's been cold enough. And we've gotten our cold weather fix. As you can see, high temperatures today, 42 degrees, getting better Tuesday, 52, Wednesday, 56, and then Thursday into the mid-60s. So it's going to be a great forecast for any of those Thursday plans. Take a step back due to that frontal system pushing on through, cooling us off. But then by the time we get towards the weekend, And our Ole Miss game kicks off. Our first Mississippi playoff game kicks off is going to be in the low 60s. A beautiful forecast for that. But low temperatures, let's hope they follow suit. And fortunately, they do. You can see 23 degrees Tuesday morning, still cold, but not like what we had today. And then Wednesday, 36 degrees. Thursday, 47. Dropping back Friday morning, but gradually climbing, heading into our Sunday and Monday. Now, a big reason for Sunday and Monday's climb, it's because moisture is returning to the forecast once again. We'll break that down here in just a moment. First, let's focus on our Tuesday. 25 degrees heading out the door tomorrow morning. Enough for a couple of layers to stay on the safe side and definitely cover up those fingertips or exposed areas, because it is just going to be a cold, cold forecast. 49 by noon, topping out in the low 50s. Still with those mostly sunny skies. Going to be a beautiful forecast, but then the beautiful skies transition to some cloudy skies, but at least cold weather transitions to some warmer weather. 56 degrees Wednesday afternoon, 64 by Thursday. Still, this warming trend does come at a cost with those rain and storm chances returning to the forecast. Friday, things dry up, but cool off. 49 degrees for highs. Going to be at freezing for those lows, but then Saturday, those temperatures gradually building back, moisture building back as well. And then Sunday, scattered in fashion as storms are back in the forecast. Monday, limited chances of moisture beyond that forecast. Now, coming up here in the next 60, we're going to be addressing these rain chances. What exactly do we expect? We're talking about potential for some strong storms. Where exactly? Well, of all of those answers coming up here after the break, so make sure to keep it with Mississippi Live Weather at 6 here in the next 60. And if you guys do have any questions, I encourage you, drop it in chat and we'll be able to address that in more detail for anything that you have going on this week. We know that it's the Christmas season. It's busy. We don't want to go have these events if it's raining. So we'll have that full breakdown for you. Just let us know in the comments what you guys want to know and we'll address that in full detail here on Mississippi Live Weather at 6, live from the Room to Room Weather Center.
Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.
Well, welcome back into the Room to Room Weather Center, continuing to talk about our rain chances heading into Thursday. But before we get there, we do have our Merry and Bright Christmas Light promo. It is December 15th, and you still have some time to get those Christmas lights up. If you have not submitted your pictures, what are you waiting on? We want to showcase them here on Mississippi Live Weather, and the best way to do so is submitting that through Facebook or through the Mississippi Live Weather app, and we will post those and, of course, get them shown off here on the 5 and 6 o'clock broadcast. Now, here are Catherine's lights, should I say, our weather watcher out there in the field. Now, this is a decorated yard, and I feel like that's an understatement. I love all the decorations. You got the bushes, you got the edge of the roof lined up, but you also have around the tree, you have the Grinch, you have snowmen, you have everything in this yard. This is such a cool sight, and I know when folks drive by, you can't help but bring a smile to their face. My wife and I over the weekend went Christmas light watching in Tupelo, just driving around the area and saw some fantastic lights and some lights that have not been sent in to Mississippi Live Weather. So we definitely want that submitted so that way we can show them off, but it was such a joy just driving around town, and I don't think a smile ever left either of our faces. From being with each other, but also from the Christmas lights. Now, as we take a look at Robin there, I love this simplistic design. There's bows on the fence complementing each other with the tree. You have that simple white tree. I mean, that is such a good looking view, and I know that folks are enjoying that driving by there as well. Robin, thank you for submitting this picture. Catherine, same to you. And again, not too late to submit your pictures. We have 10 more days of coverage for our Merry and Bright Christmas light promo, and we cannot wait to get all of that on air and show that to you guys here on Mississippi Live Weather. All right, let's bring it back in, and of course this is going to go through I added a pause. The pause seemed to never happen. Let's get it back in here. You guys may remember this graphic from last week. Last week we used it for the cold, addressing those beyond normal conditions. And let me tell you, right on the money whenever it came to those beyond normal conditions. So let's go ahead and address this. And this is our new beyond normal graphic that's talking about beyond normal winds. Yes, so strong wind gusts. What exactly can we expect? Those extreme winds as well. Again, this legend at the top will be something we'll be addressing for a few times as we go through this graphic. So let's go ahead and build into that forecast. This, working our way into Tuesday, you can see some of those breezier conditions going to be out there felt in Oklahoma and Arkansas and Kansas, far away from us here in North Mississippi, and that low pressure center, as it continues to develop, still going to be developing around the Wyoming, around the Colorado area, and then into Nebraska. So that's going to gradually work its way into North Mississippi, but we know how dry things will be. It's not going to be anytime soon. So let's extend that into those Wednesday and Thursday conditions, and there you get that frontal system building a little bit more. Breezy conditions, might I say, extreme wind forecast over there in the Wyoming area. But as we work our way into into our Wednesday afternoon, those start to work their way a little bit more towards the east. And you saw a moment ago, this is what I want to show you guys. Wednesday evening, remember that front that's setting up on our Wednesday night, going to be out there towards Topeka, just on the west side of Oklahoma, just north of Lubbock. That's going to be that front that develops. And you can see some of these above normal conditions, and I meant to put above, not below, so apologies for that. But above normal conditions starting to develop on that leading edge of that front. Now, this is not going to be a significant wind event, but could we see a few gusts that are a little bit above what is comfortable? For sure. And we keep that going into our Thursday, and that frontal system, I mean, you can see it clear as day with that main system up there around Milwaukee and Chicago, but that front extending south and west off of it into Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. So this is Thursday morning. Let's go ahead and take it into our Thursday mid-morning into that early afternoon time frame. This is 10:30 on your Thursday, and I'll bring it back in here to the North Mississippi area. So you're getting some of those above normal gusts that are getting into the Memphis metro area. So not an impossibility to get some breezy conditions around Hernando, West Helena, Memphis, Senatobia. That happening Thursday around noon. Now this is as that first part of the front starts to work its way in, and then you start to get the major effects from the front that are starting to develop a little bit more by 4:30 on your Thursday. Now let me tell you, this is where those breeziest conditions are expected to be. Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, Illinois, not exactly getting those breezy conditions down here according to those beyond normal parameters that we have on this graphic. So as we continue to build that into our Thursday evening, we're not expecting an extremely breezy forecast with this. So in regards to severe weather, that's definitely a beneficial outlook, and we're not really getting any breezy conditions at all, even heading into our weekend forecast as well. So I know our kickers for Ole Miss, I gotta look up who the kicker is for Ole Miss. Should be enjoying some pleasant conditions for a football game. And then Sunday, those rain chances not going to have any breezy conditions either. So that's one of the first parameters we're looking at whenever it comes to our inclement weather threat by this weekend. The other thing we look at, dew points. You hear us mention it all the time, that measure of moisture. And that's one of the big things we're looking at for any of these storms to get on the stronger side. So wind gusts, not going to be extreme along that front, except for folks out west. But here in North Mississippi, we're not expecting those extreme wind gusts with that main line. But let's go ahead and look at these dew points and how they build into our Tuesday forecast as well as Wednesday. So that moisture, the greens already rising, just like those waves moving in on the ocean. So you can see some of those greens, those 30-degree dew points back into the forecast, further down south towards Natchez and Hattiesburg, and 50 degrees by New Orleans. So getting that return of moisture, whereas in North Mississippi, still the low to mid-20s. That is not anywhere near saturated, so that's why that forecast remains dry throughout our Tuesday. But let's extend this into our Wednesday, and you can see how that tongue of moisture builds further into the region. By Wednesday morning, we're back into the low to mid-30s across North Mississippi, with that moisture really building by the afternoon. Down south, 49 Natchez, 46 Jackson. Still not near that severe weather or that strong weather potential, but as we get into our Thursday, that main event day, that's when we'll see these really start to climb. So let's go ahead and get that into our Thursday morning. And there you're getting a better environment over the top of Mississippi. You're seeing 60s returning to the forecast in Hattiesburg, New Orleans, 58 Meridian, 56 Jackson, and low 50s here in Tupelo and Starkville. Let's move it into that afternoon time frame, because this threat is expected to move in mid to late afternoon. So I'm going to take it into that 3 o'clock hour. Actually, let's move it a little bit before. So 12:30. You can see how this tongue of moisture gets all the way up the state line, Alabama and Mississippi, I should say, with low 60s returning to the forecast, potentially some mid 60s mixing in there. The rest of us going to be in the mid to upper 50s. And it's not exactly a primed environment for strong storms to occur. So where are we expecting the potential for some strong storms? Not really in North Mississippi. I would say if we were getting anything, it's south of Highway 82, and even those threats, very, very limited. Whenever we move further towards the south, that's where we'd expect a little bit more of that moisture to be there for some stronger storms or for some storms to build. But even by then, once the front forces its way on through, dew points aren't overly impressive. But low 60s are enough for the potential strong storms to happen. And that's one of the things we're watching behind the scenes is when do these low 60s move back into the forecast? Just how much does that moisture rebuild heading into the next 48 hours? And if this were to be a little bit higher, then you're looking at the potential for some storms to develop and the potential for some strong storms at that. So we're not saying it's an impossibility, but it definitely does have an uphill battle as we get into that extended pattern. So fortunately right now, severe weather is not expected with where things sit. And that's why the Storm Prediction Center there in Norman, Oklahoma does not have a severe weather risk over the top of us. This is Wednesday, but as we even look at our Thursday, nothing changes. We're not expecting anything severe with this system as of right now, but things can change, and we do expect it to change. We're just hoping it changes for the better as we move into the next 48 hours. But we're keeping eyes behind the scenes for the potential of that moisture building and the potential for some strong storms to happen. Of course, we'll let you guys know the very latest here on Mississippi Live Weather. But tonight we are dry, we are cold. That is the forecast. Stay alert whenever it comes to those cold conditions. I don't believe we need to be dripping pipes for a large majority of us. I still might just be on the safe side because we are still talking low to mid 20s for the start of our Tuesday morning. 29 degrees by 8 is already cold enough, and we're getting even colder from there. So layer up tonight for any of those plans, and of course enjoy those parades if you're heading to Shannon or Ashland, both of which should be a great time, and we cannot wait to see all of the pictures and videos submitted from those areas. So enjoy it tonight. Of course, have that Mississippi Live Weather app handy to let you know what that forecast is heading out the door. We keep you updated on that forecast that's happening right now, as well as into the future, whether that's here in the next couple of hours or here in the next couple of days. We have all that breakdown here on the Mississippi Live Weather app, free and available on iOS and Android today. We also have those streams happening at 5, 6, and 10. So our next one is actually at 10 o'clock tonight. We'll have the very latest on those rain chances as well as these temperatures and just how we're trending into the coming days. And don't forget to miss our morning broadcast, 6:37 and 7:30 with meteorologist Maggie McCauley.
People tell me how lucky my daughter is to have been adopted. But really, we're the lucky ones. Learn more at adoptuskids.org.